everyone, I'm Diane Danzibring, menopause counsellor and founder of Menopause Support and the Menopause Support Network, our private Facebook group, and also the hashtag Make Menopause Matter campaign. I am here today with my lovely friend Sam Evans, and Sam runs a company called Jo Divine, and she is here today to talk all things sexual health and pleasure during and after menopause. So I hope you're going to be glued. We've been trying to do this for a very long time. I think Sam and I have been trying to do this for 2 years.
Yeah, we have.
But hurrah, here we are. So she's going to do most of the talking because she's the expert. Thank you, lovely, for travelling this way to do this. I'm really excited about this because certainly in my work and when I speak, the theme of my whatever I talk is generally sex is something we do, not something we talk about. And you know, when I counsel couples, it is always part of the conversation. Because generally that's part of their relationship that has broken down.
Yeah.
Very often because if we're in a heterosexual relationship, very often because the woman is experiencing some kind of vaginal, vulval or urinary symptom of menopause. When I counsel lesbian couples, that's very often the case. One of them is actually perimenopause, the other one maybe isn't there yet or is postmenopause and hasn't experienced symptoms, and so that's also been an issue within their relationship. It's just this lack of understanding of those symptoms, and the most important thing is what we can do to maintain that intimacy and maintain that connection. So I know you agree about the whole communication thing. So I'm going to kind of throw it open to you to share a lot of your knowledge. Sam has written extensively on this, my lovely, haven't you?
Yes.
On your website. So it's a fabulous source of information if you want to go and read more about it. So could you introduce yourself to everybody and tell them what you do?
Yeah. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
My favourite subject. It's what we ever talk about whenever we do meet. We've managed to put it on film now. I'm Sam Evans, and I'm the co-founder of online sex toy retailer Jo Divine with my husband Paul. Basically, we set up the company about 12 years ago. My background's nursing, so I've written hundreds of sexual health and pleasure articles offering practical advice and solutions to help couples remain intimate and to enjoy sexual intimacy and pleasure and better sexual health too. And I'm passionate about this because I don't think enough practical advice is given to people other than use a bit of lube, which really is of no help whatsoever. So, you know, this is basically, that's what Jo Divine is about. I advise women on the phone and their partners on the phone.
I was going to say,
yes.
how out of interest, percentage-wise?
It's really hard to say. I would probably say, I don't know, probably maybe 20% of men. We often get men phoning up. They've spotted our advert in women's health magazine, women's magazines like Good Housekeeping and Woman and Home. It's a basic vibrator that we sell. It mentions on the advert about vaginal tightness, and they often will phone up and say, my wife is menopausal, would this product help her?
Really?
So, yeah,
that's
and actually
interesting.
both Paul, my husband, and myself will be advising these people. So, you know, and often, you know, all they basically, their partner has gone through gynecological cancers or breast cancer, or they've had a hysterectomy. So we are actually advising those men for their partners. And actually sometimes it's actually partners, be it male or female, phoning up on behalf of their partner because the partner's too embarrassed to actually talk to us. But yeah, no, it is.
How much of those telephone consultations would be men who are calling for themselves because of erectile issues?
Not that many.
Okay.
I mean, another thing to say is actually women will be phoning up to buy a vibrator, and the conversation we have is, I'm buying the vibrator because my husband has erectile issues. So then we have a conversation about the reasons why, because obviously it's really important to get those investigated because it could be an underlying cause of heart disease, diabetes, prostate health issues, but often lifestyle, stress, eating unhealthily, not taking enough exercise, smoking, drinking, all those things that we need to be making sure that we do in moderation, they all impact upon erectile function. And as obviously as a man gets older, it's not just women, hitting the midlife.
Absolutely,
it's men as
well. As testosterone levels fall.
And often men won't seek help for an erectile problem, and that actually puts stress on a relationship, both physically and mentally.
And that's another reason why we should all be talking about it and normalising it, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's not just women who are actually having these sexual health issues, it is men as well. So, and actually then we talk to these women and say, well, actually we've got male products that can help your partner with his erectile function. So, it's sort of a double hit, really.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Perfect.
That's actually a very common conversation that we have.
That's interesting.
Why women are actually phoning up for a sex toy to, sort of because their partner can't actually enjoy penetrative sex together, but there are other things they can do together.
Yeah, absolutely. But it just seems quite sad to me that, sort of people they're not having the conversations when there are things that could help. As you say, maybe simple things like lifestyle or the fact that actually, do you know what, you should really be getting that checked out because that could be something underlying. Yes. I think it's part of the whole, sort of sharing the knowledge means that people are going to enjoy better general health as they age, but also better sexual health and pleasure as they age too.
Exactly. But I do feel we're often depicted as these old women going through the menopause and we don't like sex and we don't want to have sex. I love sex, but my body hasn't always liked it, but actually I think we have to acknowledge there's a lot of men out there with erectile dysfunction, and don't assume that just popping a blue pill is going to do the trick, because if they've got low libido, it is not going to work, because you've actually got to feel the arousal for it actually to work. So, and often a lot of men can't take, medication
for other health issues.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. So again, that's something that we need to address as well. But that is a really common conversation that we have.
Excellent. Go on then, lovely. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, not at all.
As I do.
So basically, we get phoned up, or people email, or they come to the website, or conversations that I have, and basically it's generally because it's vaginal tightness.
Yep.
Because you've got vaginal atrophy, the depleting estrogen has caused the tissues of the vagina to shrink a bit. Vaginal dryness. I'm always amazed at how many people are shocked about vaginal dryness. And decreased sexual sensation, that actually often happens as well, and these all things can impact upon your libido and you actually wanting to actually have sex, because if sex becomes a bit of an effort, some people don't want to put any effort into it. It's like it changes. I've been with my husband for 28 years, and actually sex has changed over the years, and what I might have done years ago I don't do now, but I do other things. So I think that's acknowledging that, so have that conversation with your partner. So the most important thing is to use a good lubricant. I'm always amazed at people who say, oh, well, no, it means I'm not getting aroused. Well, there's so many things that impact upon your vaginal lubrication. So stress, anxiety, side effects to medication, breastfeeding, obviously menopause, cancer treatments. There are so many things that impact upon our vaginal lubrication throughout the month.
So for anybody that's never used one, apart from the obvious of it being a lubricant, what are the positives? What are the bonuses of using a lubricant?
It's going to enhance your sex play. Clearly it is going to fix a problem if you are feeling a little bit dry down there. But it's actually going to enhance the sex play, it's going to feel more pleasurable, it's going to last longer. For me personally, I pop on a bit of oil-based lubricant before we start anything. There's no going anywhere near me until I've actually got my lubricant on me. And my husband will put the lubricant on himself too. And that actually gets me going, and I don't need anything else. And that actually really works for me. It actually stimulates me, it arouses me. I produce my own lubrication. Some people like to put it on during their sex play. It can be part of their foreplay, it can be part of, just before they're going to have penetrative sex. Or if you just generally, any sexual activity. So it just makes, rather than sort of, and it sounds really awful, but everything feeling dry down there and trying to make somebody feel wetter, actually you can do more damage, because it can feel sore. The vulval tissues can feel sore. Sometimes I can feel a little bit sore, but if I put on the lubricant, then it feels okay and I'm happy to be touched. So that's what's really important about lubricant, is enhance your sex play. It doesn't just fix a problem. But
it's a good one, isn't it? It's not just any old one.
No, and that's the thing about it. The problem is people use poor lubricants with irritating ingredients, and then it causes stinging or burning or itching. They get a bout of thrush, puts them off using a lube for life. So, or they're using something that's actually not a proper lubricant. So, baby oil is one of our most clicked on articles on the website. Vaseline, anything out of your kitchen cupboards.
It's a no.
Or bathroom cupboards. So for me, It's using a good lubricant that doesn't contain irritating ingredients. So anything that's got glycerin in it, glycerin can cause thrush because it's a sugar.
Yeah.
Glycols irritate the tissues of the vagina. It's very, very well known. And parabens, which we shouldn't be putting inside our bodies. Flavoured lubes, great for oral sex, but they're not great for penetrative sex because, again, they're sugary.
Yeah.
And then you've got ones that warm you up and cool you down. The warming ones contain what you would find in chilies. Some people like them, but it can cause stinging and burning.
Yeah.
And then the ones that cool you down contain menthol. So again, it's that sort of cooling, you know, exactly. Yeah. So if you know that you are prone to thrush or bacterial vaginosis or any vaginal irritation, and that happens more and more as we hit perimenopause, menopause and beyond, because the tissues of the vagina are changing because of the depleting estrogen, then go for something that actually doesn't contain those ingredients.
Yeah.
Check the ingredients label, but we've said it before, a lot of lubricants don't put the ingredients on the label.
No, I didn't realise that they could do that.
Brands,
I didn't know they could do that.
Yes,
wow.
And it's a matter of being your own detective, like I was with my vagina health. So, you know, try and get a sample from a lubricant company, or, you know, just do a skin test. Don't just slap it on.
Yeah.
And because it's not just women, it's, you know, male partners.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The penile tissues as well, it can actually cause it to sting. And that's the one thing that I'll put a couple off actually using a lubricant, which could really transform their sex life. It's the one thing we sell a lot of. We do sell a lot of other things, but the lubricants, I just cannot get across to people that you need to use a really
how
good
important that is.
That it will enhance your sex play. And I feel, stop thinking, oh, well, it's because I'm not getting aroused. There's reasons why I'm not getting aroused. But if you use a good lubricant, you will become more aroused because it will feel pleasurable.
So it's rather than thinking of it as this is helping a problem, which it can do. It's more about thinking this could make things feel so much nicer.
And it should just be a normal part of sex, like you know, condoms. Using a condom, you know, prevent STIs. Then using a lubricant, you know, to enhance your sex play. You know, from my view, is no lube, no sex. My husband knows that anyway. But you know, we know, you know, but it's always, you know, that's always been the thing. And you know, for me, we've actually transformed friends' sex lives by just giving them a couple of tubes of lube. Yeah. You know, and they
Merry Christmas.
So, you know, vaginal dryness, and, you know, use the lubricants. And it takes some getting used to. And don't get me wrong, I remember when we were using the S lubricants, and it does. But, you know, once you realise how pleasurable it feels.
Do you warm it up?
No, I do in my hands.
Because it always feels
cold. I know.
Very cold.
Yeah, I have to say. But when I do the oil-based is, you know, I do warm it in my hands, actually, a little bit as well. So.
Good tip.
That sort of,
good tip,
yes. Maybe, often we have this giggle, oh, it's really cold. Just stop.
Right, lovely. So you are going to talk us through for, you know, sort of for people who are not familiar with all the possibilities around different sex toys. You're going to talk us through some of them, but you're also going to talk to us about how important it is that they're made of skin-safe products, aren't you?
So Joe Divine is one of the very few sex toy companies that only sell skin-safe products.
So what is skin-safe? What does that mean? So
basically, with the lubricants, I've just talked to you about the ingredients. Majority of lubricants contain irritating ingredients, as I've mentioned. Skin-safe products means that they're made from skin-safe silicone, glass, metal, or hard ABS plastic.
Right.
Now the plastic, you know, is completely safe. It's not porous. The glass toys are actually made of borosilicate glass, and that's actually what Pyrex dishes are made from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the metal
that'll make me look at Pyrex completely differently in the future.
And they're beautiful glass toys, and they're great for temperature play. You can warm them up or cool them down. It offers a different sexual sensation. And then you have metal toys. Again, you can warm them up and cool them down. They're made from medical grade steel that you will find that surgical instruments are made from. So that's the standard. Okay. And then silicone, there's different grades of silicone. Basically, the thing about sex toys is that you should be avoiding products that are made from rubber, jelly or latex. Clearly with latex we've got an issue of a latex allergy. Yeah. If you do have a toy like that, then I would always say put a condom on it. Mm-hmm. Jelly and rubber are highly porous. Mm-hmm. So they will absorb bacteria and you can't clean them. Yeah. So that's a risk of infection. Yeah. And also they do degrade over time. You'll know if it's a jelly or rubber toy because it'll be that smell. Okay. It's got phthalates, they often have phthalates, which are plasticizers, which have been banned from children's toys. It sort of makes the toy flexible.
So they're banned from children's toys, but not from sex toys.
Well, they are slowly disappearing.
Okay.
So we only work with reputable manufacturers who basically make toys that have got this skin safe silicone, which is of a high quality as well. You can tell it, you can feel the quality of it. So that's really important. And also I would say buy from a reputable manufacturer, because there are quite a lot of fakes online, and that's really important, because you have no idea where they've been made.
Right.
And also there are a lot of testers as well.
Okay.
So you don't know if they've actually been used before. So that's really important as well. But the simplest sex toy that you can actually add into your life is one of these little bullet vibrators.
I love this one because it always looks like a lippy.
Yeah, in fact, a little story. I've got an air hostess who flies long haul to Dubai. Sex toys are banned in Dubai. So she's got a couple of these. She pops them in her bag. She's got a pink one as well. She says, oh, it looks like a Dior lipstick.
It does.
Literally, it's just
very smart.
And there's nothing threatening to a partner, which is a conversation we often have, that women believe that their male partners will be threatened by them using a sex toy.
Okay.
But actually, generally, the research has shown that men aren't. They would quite like their partners. They would quite like to have a more lively sex life.
Yeah.
They're worried about buying a sex toy for the partner. They don't want to actually, upset them. And
again, lack of talking about it.
And women thinking that their partner's going to be upset by this. But meaning there's nothing about it. So,
But they're probably not going to be upset by it if you start using it on them, are they?
Well, no, that's the other thing as well. We've got these the Slinky Pinky. It's a 2-in-1, and this one's a Pebble. So it's a gorgeous rechargeable, the Mimi Soft, and it's so lovely. These products are brilliant because if you are struggling to orgasm, which often happens during the menopause, we have decreased sexual sensation. Grab yourself one of these toys and start either using it for solo pleasure, so have regular orgasms, or use it with your partner and use it on your partner. So obviously female partners, you can share these toys absolutely fine, use it on the vulva and the whole clitoral area, nipples. I mean, they're a great place for people to actually have sexual sensation, and on male partners up and down the shaft of the penis as well. It's actually, and let them take control. I mean, if you are really struggling, if you don't orgasm during penetrative sex, and 75% of women don't, because we don't have enough clitoral stimulation, this is such a good way of closing that orgasm gap.
Absolutely. It's important to say too, isn't it? We did one of these a little bit earlier about pelvic health during menopause, and it's important to say that so when we talk about vaginal atrophy, it's not just about the vagina, it's also about the vulva, and also quite a lot of women have issues around the clitoris, don't they? With the clitoris actually becoming sort of reduced in size, reduced in sensation.
Well, actually, sometimes as well, it can become hypersensitive
because the clitoral hood.
So actually, these toys are great, but some women might find them too
strong.
So this isn't a vibrator. It's not an ear thermometer either. But basically,
my husband said, was it something to do with drying your hair?
But it doesn't vibrate. It's a Satisfyer Pro 2, and it uses air pulse technology. So basically, it's gently sucking and caressing the clitoral tissue. And so basically, it's got 11 levels, but the lowest level, I've got women who are very hypersensitive, and they actually can use it on the low level. But obviously, you put your thumb over there, and it caresses.
It's very gentle, isn't it?
And it's not a vibrator, because often when women are struggling with decreased sexual sensation, they'll use a vibrator for long periods of time, and actually that can lead to desensitisation, especially if it's a vibrator that's got a high-pitched, buzzy, cheap motor in it. And I'm a bit of a connoisseur. I can hold sex toys in my hand and go, cheap motor, inside a luxurious casing, or that's got a good quality, nice, deep, throbbing, rumbling motion. Those are the
This
toys.
is quite a skill you've developed here.
Yes, exactly. The vibrator connoisseur, yes, exactly. So that's great for those women where maybe the tissue has disappeared off the clitoris.
Off the clitoral hood,
and also it does shrink as well. But you've got to make sure. But that again could be too sensitive.
Yeah.
So those women may not want to have their clitoris played with or stimulated anyway. So therefore maybe some internal stimulation would be better for them. Sort of trying to find that G-spot
wherever
that might be. Might work for them. And then sort of then. Another thing is the vaginal tightness. So obviously we know that happens, and the tissues atrophy over time, which is we've talked about local estrogen, and using a good vaginal moisturiser like and the lubricants can all really help. I mean, and also I personally have a HRT patch as well, which all helps. Yeah. But also
me too.
Women actually experience these problems when they've actually had gynae cancers or breast cancer. So any cancer treatment, but particularly the gynae and the breast cancer, and bowel cancer actually as well. Yeah. And actually that all impacts upon that whole pelvic area. So then you end up with this vaginal tightness. Having a hysterectomy, which obviously then can send women into a surgical menopause. I mean, that was your
Yep,
Okay,
that was my experience. Yeah.
So having a hysterectomy actually shortens the vagina, so that then can make penetration feel uncomfortable or even painful. And women aren't told that their vaginas may have shortened, and therefore they need to make sure that they have penetrative sex, or they use a vibrator or a dildo of some sort. So we've got a different types of vibrators. We have this little health brochure created in the NHS, which has got lots of slim vibrators which are designed to help women with gynecological issues.
Do you find, Sam, that you've actually got, now that this brochure it's quite widely spread in the NHS, so have you got sort of women's health physios and gynaes, etc., actually have it opening that conversation with women now?
What opens it, they have the brochures, but they also keep some of our products in their clinics. So they'll often sit there maybe with the little Slinky Pinky, or this is the Pica Bonzizo, that's just another thing that we send out, all the dilators, and they'll leave it on the side, or they'll just sit there with it in their hand, and it's curiosity, and then people will actually say, oh, what's that? And then it opens up this conversation. But they're actually really proactive, certainly the women's health physios, and I've got some cancer nurses as well, and gynecologists, who will actually open the conversations. It's the ones who don't. They're the ones that I really need to get to open the conversation. But often it's because healthcare professionals don't know what to say. It's not part of training, never part of my training.
It absolutely should be.
It needs to be compulsory. Certainly it needs to be compulsory for menopause, when you've been through gynae cancers, when you've had a hysterectomy,
and particularly those, and the other one is those women who go into early menopause, those young women who go into premature ovarian insufficiency. It desperately needs to be part of those conversations.
And there's lots of medical conditions as well, neurological conditions like MS, there's multiple sclerosis, and people actually have pain, fibromyalgia. We need to have this conversation. It should be the normal part. We shouldn't be expecting patients to ask the doctor, whereas often they'll think about it with the hand on the door as they're leaving the consultation room, by which point their appointment is over, but they're too nervous to actually bring it up, which is what my work, talking to healthcare professionals, showing them sex toys and saying, look, use the website, use the articles, give out a health brochure, tell them I'm on the end of the phone. I'm always happy to rise, people on the end of the phone. And actually, we generally end up having a giggle. They can be as nervous as anything, and that's completely understandable.
Yeah, of course.
But for me, it's actually having a giggle. I mean, a lady the other day phoned up. She was 85. Her husband had passed away several years ago, and she was really nervous. She bought a toy, and at the end of it, she said, we were giggling away, and she went, well, I think he would approve.
Oh.
And I just thought, well, you're never too old, because our oldest customer was 95. But this is the thing, people actually say to us, you've made it so much easier to talk about this. And the healthcare professionals say, you've made it easier for us to talk about this too. And we need to be doing it, because it's one aspect of our health that we don't talk about, that actually is dismissed. It's like, well, you've had your, we've removed your ovaries and your womb now just go away. And I'm afraid that is still the attitude.
Oh, absolutely.
And we know the fact, women aren't being offered HRT, which, when they've had these surgical interventions, and obviously a lot of women going through cancer treatments aren't able to take HRT. So
no.
we need to be able to offer other things that actually can help them enjoy sex.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the other thing is, sort of from my perspective, so many of the women that I counsel about and around menopause, their relationship is struggling. And it's because now that they are, whether it's because of their hot flushes, whether it's because of their tiredness and their fatigue, whether it's because of their repeated UTIs or their vaginal symptoms, actually they're distancing themselves physically from their partner. Because they can't bear either to be hugged because of the hot flushes, or, oh my goodness, I'm so exhausted, I can't even be thinking about sex, and particularly, sort of the urinary and vaginal symptoms. And it's really interesting because I quite often get chatting to cab drivers when I'm on my way to somewhere, and they always ask, what are you doing, where are you going? So being me, I tell them, and they'll always, I guarantee you, they will always say, oh, you should come and talk to my wife. And it's like, why? Well, and one the other day, and he was like, I don't really know how to say this. And I said, are you trying to talk about sex? And he went, yeah. And I said, okay. And he said, like, we're struggling. And I said, okay, well, these are some of the things that you can do. And actually, once I was talking to this complete stranger, and, I'm talking really to the back of his head, which is always a good thing, because he's not looking straight at me, so it's easier for him. I'm fine. But once we got talking about it, he was like, oh, all right then, well, I'll send her to your page and to the group. And I said she can ask any question she likes. And he really perked. It was like, and it wasn't. He didn't perk up because he thought, "Oh, I'm going to have sex again."
No, it was helping
He
her.
perked up because it was going to help their relationship.
Yeah.
And we desperately need to be having these conversations.
I mean, that's the other thing I want to say is, we need to take the focus off penetrative sex, because not everybody has penetrative sex. People are having lots and lots of fantastic sex, but it's in all sorts of different ways.
Different ways, yeah.
And we acknowledge that as well. But unfortunately, within healthcare, there's always a focus on penetration, and I'm afraid.
And of course, not all couples are heterosexual couples.
No, exactly. So and not everybody wants penetrative sex. Something else might work for them, and it does work for them. So we have to acknowledge that, and I think we have to take the focus off penetration. I think a lot of couples think, oh God, let's say that I've been, oh God, I really don't feel like having sex, but I can say, but I really quite like to have an orgasm. My husband, and he's always happy to oblige, and I'll do it for him. And it's like, well, actually, we haven't had penetrative sex, but we've remained intimate. We've done, we've kissed, we've cuddled, we've touched each other. We've both ended up with an orgasm, which helps you sleep better as well, which is quite nice.
Good for your mental health.
Yeah. Or in the morning as well. Sometimes it's quite nice to have a quick orgasm as well. So
good for the blood flow too.
Yeah, exactly. And it boosts your mood because it produces all those feel-good
serotonin.
endorphins.
Come on.
Keeps you looking young as well. And it boosts your immunity, certainly at this time of year when it's a bit miserable and actually want to avoid coughs and colds. So, it's all those things. And for men as well, it can actually reduce your risk of developing prostate cancer by having regular, ejaculation. So that's really important because it flushes out the prostate gland. So again, I say to women, don't think that it's all got to be penetration. Say to your partner, well, actually, could we do this? Can we actually play? And I've got couples, they've started off with the bullet vibration, and now they're using bondage, or they're using all sorts, and they're discovering all sorts of different ways to enjoy pleasure together, but beyond penetration. And we've got toys that, can actually help couples remain intimate, stimulate sexual intercourse without penetration. And, I think that's something we have to focus on. Don't get me wrong, we still need to have a viable vagina so we can have those pelvic examinations, we can have smear tests.
Of course.
And obviously, ultimately, I suppose people do want to get back to penetrative sex if they can.
Yeah.
But if you can't, don't feel that, oh, well, that's it.
I can't do anything.
And we do have to acknowledge that clearly, there are going to be couples out there for whom the sex maybe has never been very good. So quite frankly, they're so relieved that they hit menopause, they now have an excuse to say no. And that's fine as well. But we're trying to help those women like me and you. We like sex. And when I hear women saying, well, my sex life has come to an end or a halt, I go, well, actually, there are things you can do. I can help you. So that's what I try to do.
I think it's a very different thing, isn't it? If a couple have decided, actually, it's fine, we don't have sex, but that's fine, and it's genuinely fine with both of them.
Yes.
Then if it's fine with them, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think the sad thing is that so many are no longer having sex or any kind of intimacy just due to this lack of conversation. And also I think, you've held a lot of those things up, for a lot of people that would still be, oh, crikey. But actually it should absolutely be part of sexual health and pleasure, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Those things should absolutely be normal.
Yeah, and actually, we have our health brochure, which really I view the products, the sex toys in the health brochure as tools to help medical professionals help their patients regain sexual function, enjoy intimacy and pleasure. And actually, if you can't bear to view it as a sex toy, then just think of it as a tool to actually help you.
And of course, so we've talked a lot about partners and relationships, but there are quite a lot of people who choose not to have a partner and not to be in a relationship. So, there's a lot of these things that for people who are, they've said, do you know what, I'm done with relationships, but, I still want to enjoy pleasure, and obviously, they, they can pleasure themselves, but it's quite nice to have options too.
Well, definitely, and also, I've got lots of older customers as well, and some of those
who've lost partners,
and that's another thing that you sort of have to highlight. And also, I do get a lot of women who are in new relationships. We do have to highlight during this menopausal, natural menopause age. We've got couples now, people going into second relationships, second marriages. This is why, unfortunately, we need to be telling them to use condoms because older people aren't using condoms, which is why we have a spike in sexually transmitted diseases. And that's particularly prevalent. You know, we have to be aware of menopause because of thinning vaginal walls. You're more likely it'll increase transmission. So again, new relationship, please use a condom. But also these women, they go to have sex with this new partner. They may not have had sex for several years, and it's painful.
Yeah.
So then they're buying a slim sex toy to actually help them, so to enable them to actually then have sex with this new partner, be it male or female. But you know, this is something that I do come across a lot. There are a lot of couples, you know, a lot of people are in new relationship, new marriages. We, you know, we actually do come across that a lot when people phone us up and they'll tell us about it. So, you know, again, that's another part of society that maybe we're not addressing.
Yeah.
This.
There's so much, isn't there? People with disability.
Well, again,
you know, that's a whole
again,
other,
you know,
and that very much
that
gets forgotten, doesn't it?
Yeah, and actually, for me to actually talk to someone and say, well, actually, I don't, you know, I would rather people call me and I say, well, actually, I don't think that toy would be good for you, but the buttons on this one would be better, or this will be more suitable for your needs, because often people will phone up for a toy and then I discover the reason why, and I'll go, well, actually, we've got a better product.
There's something,
not necessarily a more expensive product, it's often a cheaper product,
but just something that would work better,
because I don't want somebody being disappointed, and I also don't want somebody having to send that product back. But we have quite a lot of customers with disabilities that, you know, we help, because everybody's having, you know, everybody should be able to have sex. There should be no reason why people can't
whoever
have sex.
You are.
You know, there should be no barriers to it at all. Whatever your sexual orientation, your age, your medical condition, you know, your disability, everybody should be able to
enjoy sexual pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we're talking, so we did one of these a little bit earlier, all about vagina and vulval health. I've done a couple of these with Jane Lewis, who talks a lot about vaginal atrophy. So essentially, the pelvic area is pretty much reliant on estrogen, and estrogen is the thing that's diminishing generally quite fast during those perimenopausal years. So either systemic estrogen, so estrogen that goes all through the body, that can have a hugely beneficial effect on the pelvic area, as can local estrogen. So if you're somebody who absolutely can't have systemic estrogen, local estrogen. And then Sam, just remind us again of the, you know, sort of the useful and what you would regard as the right sort of lubricant, that, and the things that people should be looking for.
Yeah. So basically, you know, we are fans of organic lubricant. This transformed my sex life, which had been destroyed in my 20s and 30s by KY Jelly and well-known lubricant brands because of the irritating ingredients. So basically, the Yes products don't contain glycerin, glycols or parabens. They are pH balanced to the vagina. pH is really important. The pH of the vagina is between 3.8 and 4.5, but a lot of products are not that pH. They will disrupt it.
Okay.
That then can cause infections like bacterial vaginosis, which smells fishy. You need to have antibiotics to treat it. And so, you know, there's the Yes Vaginal Moisturiser, which I personally use twice a week. I use the Yes oil base because I really, really like the way that feels.
The moisturiser, do you use that on vulva and vagina?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and so then the oil-based lubricant. The only thing to say about any oil-based lubricant is you can't use it with condoms. It will destroy a condom.
Yeah.
And then there's the water-based, and you can use the two together because oil and water don't mix. You get what's called a double glide effect.
Okay, so if you use the two together, do you use one before the other?
Yeah, basically you put the oil on first and then the water. So if you've got a male partner, you can put the oil on him and put the water on yourself.
Okay.
You know, if you've got a toy, you can put the oil on first and then the water.
Okay.
And it's a matter of preference, really. Of what you want to use. And the other thing as well to say to people is be really careful about what you're putting inside your vagina, you know, the whole feminine hygiene products, because that will disrupt and affect your sex life like it did with my own sex life. So I then got thrush bacterial vaginosis from using poor lubricants with irritating ingredients. So then I treated with over-the-counter products which contained irritating ingredients, which then exacerbated the problem.
Not great.
You know, we're being deluged with so many things aimed at our vaginas and vulvas, and if you have got an issue, please go to your GP to get it checked out, because, you know, you may think it's thrush, it could be something actually which is more serious.
Yeah.
And there are other skin conditions in the vulval area like lichen sclerosis, but also vulval cancers as well, which we need to have checked out. That's really, really important. So please don't keep treating yourself with over-the-counter products.
That's so important.
Because the pharmacist hasn't examined you, they can't tell you what you've actually got wrong with you. You know, so really it is important to get these checked out, because This is another reason why couples don't have sex as well. And that's again because thrush and bacterial vaginosis are particularly prevalent in menopause.
Yeah.
Because of the depleting estrogen, so the vagina health isn't quite as good as it should be. But if you do all these things, you'll keep your vulva and your vagina happy and healthy, and hopefully, you'll end up having some really pleasurable sex, and just keep having regular orgasms because they're good for you.
Okay, so I was going to ask you for top 3 tips.
Sorry.
I'm guessing that's going to be in there. So top 3 tips.
Yeah, so top 3 tips. Important, talk to your partner if you're in a relationship.
Oh, just so important. Absolutely.
Invest in a really good lubricant. Check the ingredients. Don't put any old thing inside your vagina. It is really important. Even and it's not a matter of cost either. There are really expensive things out there that you shouldn't be putting in your vagina.
Yeah.
Invest in a little bullet vibrator. If you are struggling to have orgasms, or if you're struggling, with your partner, it's a way of playing together, and have regular orgasms because that's the most important. And if you or your partner have sexual health issues, go and see your GP.
Yeah.
Because certainly for men, there could be a more serious underlying cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously for women, so many of these things are so easily resolved by using local estrogen and a good vagina moisturiser and a good sexual lubricant and using a little slim vibrator.
Yeah.
And actually just talking to your partner.
Excellent. Thank you, my lovely. So I hope that you found that helpful. As I said, this is part 2 really of one we did earlier, which was all about pelvic health. So if you haven't already signed the Make Menopause, see, there's a moment. If you haven't already signed the Make Menopause Matter petition, we would love you very much if you would go to change.org and do that today. Sam, if people want to contact you, lovely, how do they get in contact?
So it's joedivine.com. And you can find us online. You can search for Joe Divine Sex Toys. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Sam Talk Sex. We've got at Joe Divine UK. We're on Instagram, joe.divine. You can give us a call. The phone number's there. You can even write to us if you don't want to call us and request a brochure, because some people do that. You can check out the website with the articles, and you can order your products on post. You can even send us a cheque or postal order to actually order your product in.
Wow, there you go. No reason not to connect. So, my lovelies, if you want to get in contact with me, or you want to leave a message, etc., blah, 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 then it's menopausesupport.co.uk. I'm on Instagram at Diane Danzibrink. There are loads of other things, but you can find them via the website. As I said, I hope it's been really helpful. And if you've got any questions, obviously, you can head over to Sam and ask her. So we will see you, or I will see you again next time for another one of these. I've got no idea what it's going to be at the moment, but I'm sure we'll do it. So I hope it was helpful.